Hello everyone, it's Deborah from Attic Lane and I'm going to show you how to make 4 different cards using the same stamp. The stamp is from My Favourite Things and it's called Monster Love. And there are 6 different monster characters and I'm going to show you a technique to ink them up in different colours just to give a little bit of extra dimension to the character when it's stamped out. So I'm starting with orange and then you'll see I'm going to go in with red just on the base of the character, and when he's printed you'll see the effect that it has. And there are the rest of the characters printed using that same technique. Each of these have different expressions and different antennae, which you can add separately. So in my example, I'm using black ink just to make them pop. Here you can see I'm adding the different characteristics to each one. You don't have to worry and remember which face goes with which character because they're put really easily on the set right beside the character. It means if you don't want a character to have a smile, for example, you just don't stamp that piece. So they're all ready and cut out, ready to use on my projects, and I'm going to make a frame for my first card. So these are all top folding cards, and for this base I'm going to use a really beautiful paper from My Favourite Things. I don't know if you can see it, but those are little white hearts on the card. So now I want to make this a shaker card, so I'm adding a piece of acetate cut to size to the back of that frame that I've cut out. So the acetate is glued in place, and now I'm adding foam to the back of that. It's about 2mm deep, just enough to give enough of a rise for any little sequins to sit underneath it and shake about. I'm going to stamp my sentiment first, and I'm going to put that on the card because I want that then to be used as so that I can eyeball the top frame. I tend not to measure, I'm quite happy to just do it by eye. So the sentiment says Monster Love coming your way, and I'm just going to put that onto the base of the card. So I'm going to add these sequins to the base of the card, and then I'm going to get them all into the middle, and then I'm going to put the frame on top of them. I'm just going to make sure they all fit nicely in and that I've got the right amount, and that's perfect. So I'm going to remove the tape from the back of the foam pads. And now that that's all glued down, you can see, shaky shake, plenty of space for everything to move about. So I'm going to use 2 of my characters, and one of them I want just to sit in the front of the frame, and the other one I want to look as if he's just peering out from the side of the frame. I think he looks really cute sitting there. I'm applying a little glue to keep the characters in place, and then once I'm happy with their position and they're stuck down, I'm going to add some glossy accents, which is really good for adding some dimension to the eyes and to the antennae, and just make them stand out a little bit more. And then once I've completed that, the card is finished. On to card 2. And for this card I want to have some hills in the background, and I'm using a die cutting machine just to cut out some hills from these shaped die cuts with the nice stitched edging on the inside that's so popular at the moment. And I've decided to put the dark one at the back and the lighter coloured one at the front, just because I think that looks a little bit better. Now that I've decided on the position for my hills, I'm going to glue them in place. And the reason I've marked off those edges is because I know I don't want to use the whole piece. So rather than glue the whole piece and then stick it on my mat and then have glue on my mat, I'm just being a little bit more precise about where the glue needs to be positioned. So now that they're stuck in place and I'm happy with them, I'm just going to snip the edges off with my scissors. So now my card is ready for some monsters. And I think 3 is plenty for this card. And I'm going to tuck some of them right behind the hills, and one of them is going to be standing on top of the hill, and I'm just going to have a little fiddle around with here until I'm really happy with the position of them. So yes, I think they're the right ones to use, and before I stick them in place I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and again I'm using the Monster Love Coming Your Way. I just thought this was really appropriate because it looks as if they're coming over the hill towards you. So now that I'm happy with the position of the sentiment, which I just stamped in black Versa ink, I'm going to apply some glue and I'm just going to stick the monsters in place. Once again, some glossy accents for the eyes and for the antennae, and that completes card 2. Card 3. So for this I want to create a little background for my character to sit in, and I'm cutting a piece of paper out and I'm going to use some bamboo Versacolor ink and a dry baby wipe just to dab a little hill in place. It doesn't take very much ink, just a very light touch, and then if I reposition my paper I can get the effect of rolling hills in the background. These are stamps from Cardio, who are a company based in Wigan, I think. They make beautiful stamps and they're very, very good for background. So this is a stamp set that has some clouds in it. And I'm using a Versamark ink pad that's called Chateau Grey. This is a balloon that I had cut out from somewhere in my stash. And here's another of the little characters, and I want to give the impression that he's floating away with the balloon. So I've got some twine and I'm going to wrap it around the balloon, and I'm going to wrap it around his arms and his legs and everything, so it looks like he's really tangled up. To make the balloon stand out a little bit more, I'm adding some foam pads to the back, and that will give it a tiny little bit of lift. I'm doing the same for my character, and you can see there that I've wound the twine all around his arms and his legs. And once I'm happy with that, I'll stick him in place too. This is a really nice stamp set because it has different expressions like keep calm and keep and eat cake, those sorts of expressions. And this one that I've selected or put together says keep calm and keep smiling. And I think at this point I decided I didn't really like that character smiling. I didn't think he should smile. I think he should look a little bit more worried. But I will show you how I get myself out of that and what I do to correct it and make it so that I'm happy with it. So now I'm just edging around the card with a black pen just to give it a little border and just make it look a little bit more finished off. And because I've used twine, I'm making little loops as I go down the side of the card. It's not a straight line, it's got little loops in it. So here we go. So this is where I've decided I'm going to move that character. So I have to cut away all of his twine, and I'm going to bring in this sort of pink character. And on him, I didn't add the smile. And I think that's quite a good expression because it makes him look a little bit more alarmed about being carried away with a balloon. And if you're careful, you can remove things that you've stuck down with foam pads. So there's the alternative character. I think that looks a little bit better. onto card 4. So this is a pad of paper from My Favourite Things, and I've previously cut out a window because I want to have all 4 characters looking as if they're waving at you from inside a window. So I'm just going to play around with some positioning and just see where I think I want them to go, and once I'm happy I will glue them in place. With the characters secure behind the window, I'm adding phone tape so that this card will be slightly raised. I'm also adding a little bit just to the characters where their bodies stick out quite a long way into the window, just so that they don't, just so that they're anchored properly on the card. So there they all are, looking very, I think they look very funny sitting in that frame like that. I think that's a very cheerful card. So the last thing to add is a sentiment. If I'm not making a card for a specific person or a reason, I tend to just use very generic greetings, because then it can be used for anything. If you have a birthday come up that you hadn't realised you had coming up so soon, you can send this and it's still a nice birthday card. So again with a black pen, just going around the edge, but this time I'm making little stitching marks. Playing around a little bit here to see where I think it's going to fit best, because I was thinking it would look nice if that character at the top was just holding it like a sign, but then I decided it looked better in the middle. Yes, I'm happy with that position, so now I'm going to glue that in place. And then once I've done that, I'm going to add the glossy accents once again to the eyes and to the antennae, just to finish the card off. And with all 4 cards finished now, I'm going to leave you with some music and some close-up photographs so you can see a little bit more detail in each of the cards. And thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel and check out some of my other videos.